Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shanti.
Shanti. Welcome, Ma.
Thank you.
For you, what is the role of the teacher in a seeker's spiritual process?
The role of the teacher is very important in the spiritual process. The teacher represents, on a manifest level, the highest aspect that exists within all beings. Any teacher has to represent that pure beingness itself. And the role that the teacher plays is that nobody ever had any idea what they were doing since times immemorial. No one had a clue what they were doing. Nobody wakes up and goes, I see, this is how I am to become enlightened. It doesn't work like that. Why? Because that's using the mind. And so for the longest time, the mind is still playing a very large role in the student's consciousness. But with entrainment with a teacher in the subject of yoga, with entrainment with that, they start to come into contact with that energy that exists beyond the mind. That energy that exists beyond the mind. And when that starts to kick in, higher intelligence comes forward. And the role of the teacher in this process is that they can point out to us, you are using the mind. And they have to say it, and it's very subtle the more deeply you go in, because I believe that everybody at some point after they hear, oh, you are beyond this body and mind, you're something more. And I believe that people hear that and they say, I'm something more. And then some innate intelligence comes forward and they say, yeah, I am something more. But at some point, the mind rebels a little bit, or a lot. When I say a little there, I may mean a lot. And what happens is the mind says, I know everybody's not the body and mind, but you have an extraordinary mind. Your mind is so incredible. I think we should keep your mind. It's just an amazing mind. I think it's ridiculous, but I believe this is something I've witnessed in myself and in others. First, the teacher has to witness in themselves, then in others. The minute you can witness something, you can transcend it. Witness does not mean a lobotomy. It doesn't mean that you just are blank. It means you're tapped in, or you're connected with what you truly are. And you are more interested in the seer than the seeing. And the more connected we are to the seer rather than the seeing or the seen, the more we are stationed in beingness. If we're stationed in beingness, then we can become a proper guide. Because we can, naturally you can see when someone is involved with seeing or with the seen rather than the seer. The ancient traditions are reliant on the word rishi. We are all riding on the backs of the rishis, and we owe them a great debt of gratitude. So the teacher is very useful, because one student called me one day or texted me, I don't remember, some medium of communication, and she said, climbing Mount Everest would be easier than this. I thought that was very funny. I laughed, and I thought there was some truth in it. And I said, you are right. And it occurred to me that's why a teacher in the manifest realm is very useful and necessary, because when you're going up the mountain, there's so many ways to go up a mountain. But when you are, the teacher, if you're going to go down a side pass for another 10 years, the teacher can go, don't go down that side pass. You're going down a path that will take you afield. It will take you further afield from where you want to be. You want to keep coming back to yourself. And the key is, in the beginning, we don't know what that self is, but we're trying to crystallize it. In the beginning steps are through the mind and then beyond the mind. So it takes some time. I hope this is making sense, but it takes some time to begin to understand this. And even better, when you have a connection with a teacher, then that love becomes its own transformative process. And in the love is the trust. And the trust is the critical ingredient with a teacher. Deep trust, and all the transformation happens. Because one day I remember I was riding in a car somewhere and I was thinking about Guruji and all that he had taught. And it occurred to me that I just sat there, it was like a light bulb went off. It was an aha moment. I said, oh my God, he's teaching me how to trust. He's teaching me how to trust him. Then what went deeper was, he's teaching me how to trust myself. So that, because the teacher is always representing that, they should not represent personality, but universal.